garbage can. Yeah, flip your lid. Disco garbage can. Flip your lid. Yeah, get down. All right.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Hey guys, good to see you guys. Good to see Terry, Deviant Aristocrat. By the way, I don't know if Deviant Aristocrat knows this. There's a joke called The Aristocrat. You got to look it up. It's a really adult joke that'll turn stomachs and turn you off, but it's called The Aristocrat. You should check that out. A lot of people tell it, especially, who's that guy? Gilbert Godfrey tells the most obscene version of that joke called The Aristocrat. You got to check it out. Good to see Terry, Ariziana, and Deviant Aristocrat. So tonight's topic is, by the way, when you come back after not doing a show for a week, man, you get stale. It's tough to come back. Hang on. Not easy to come back after you take off for a week. So let's see. Tonight's topic is, I got it up on the screen here. It's funny because I got this sent to me, or I saw it somewhere. A UFO fleet seen over Pennsylvania it's really recently, February 15, 2020. And I'm going to play this video clip for you. And by the way, the location of where this took place was in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, which is near Valley Forge, PA. You know, where George Washington crossed the Delaware and had all the fights there. There's a Valley Forge Park there with a bunch of like wooden, you know, the forts and all that. And I've been there because my folks live in Valley Forge. They live in King of Prussia, and I don't think they saw UFOs. But we're going to talk about it tonight. And by the way, this is interesting because, and I'll put myself back up here again. It's interesting because I guess it was a couple months ago, I was talking to my mother and father about stuff, and I was talking, and they're both still alive, believe it or not. And they asked me, they said, you know, what are you doing with the radio show? And I said, well, now I do a UFO. And this is kind of after I did the UFO thing kind of in prime time. And then I was experimenting, going back and forth. And I asked my mother, I said, you know, UFOs and all that. And actually, my mother said that she believes in UFOs. And of course, we believe in UFOs. But I think she believes in more than just the belief of them. I think she's actually seen some. And I didn't tell her I don't think she's been abducted. I didn't ask her anything more about that. It's kind of like when you talk to your parents, you don't want to know about your mom and dad's sex life, and you don't want to know about their extraterrestrial life either. So I didn't really go into much detail about, well, Mom, did you ever see an alien? Did you ever look up and see one close by? So I never really pinpointed it with her. And I don't know why. I'm not embarrassed to talk to her about it, but I have no idea. So it's interesting. So tonight's topic is, because this was kind of interesting, after seeing this fleet of UFOs, the article, so then I'm thinking, and other people have thought this as well, I'm not the brain surgeon here, by the way, but people have been thinking, is Corona, well, now it's called COVID-19, an intentional distraction by aliens? Do you think it is? I mean, if there was ever an opportunity for us to be invaded, it's like, well, how do we distract these folks? How do we get them involved in something else and some other bullshit? And then we come in and then we start to take the planet for our own. So this is kind of strange footage at a very strange time where we're all trying to shut down. And when you try to shut down, of course, everything is shut down. Everything that we do, our normal lives is shut down. And then we got the aliens who could be coming here and doing things to shut us off and get us off the planet. You think? It's kind of a conspiracy theory, but let me play this. So I've got the video here of what took place. At least I think I do. Yes, I do. Here I go. I've got the video footage. Now you can make a determination. You know, whenever I say anything, I'm never really sure what to think of it, because unless I saw it with my own two eyes to know that there's not a guy out there manipulating, because there's great software out there to do stuff. I mean, I put together this show based upon software I've got. You see the intro song that I got, and you see all the images on that. You can do all that stuff. You can be your own producer and director of a show based upon having software. people put together animation. Rick and Morty, the TV show that I watch once in a while, that is done all with computer software. You think the Rick and Morty guys would not be able to pull off a fake UFO sighting with all the lights and things to freak you out? Absolutely they can. I could probably pull it off. So unless I see it with my own two eyes, I'm doubtful and I'm speculative. Let me play this and you guys can rip it apart. You can tell me if you believe it. You can tell me what you think about it. I'll play it right now. Here we go.
Look at all those lights. You see that, guys? What is that? That's insane. No, I'm serious. They're everywhere. They're like reddish. Seriously.
What the heck is it?
Look over there. Look to the far right. Seriously, I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
They're moving. They're not moving. We moved.
What is it? No, they're moving.
No,
Yes,
it's us moving.
No,
They're
they're not.
behind
They're
us
not
now. They're behind us now.
Serious, they're everywhere.
No.
They're like reddish. Seriously.
Right. What the heck is it?
Look over there. Look to the far right.
Now, what did you guys think of that? I thought it was interesting. I'm not sure I saw any conclusion. You know, anyone can say anything they want. Everyone could say it. They could be an actor and say, "Oh my God, look at that!" They could do a great job in doing that. Not to say that this guy was acting, but I'll play it again, and then maybe some of you guys will make a comment in the chat session, and we may have some people calling up to talk about. But I'll play it once more. Check it out, watch it, pick parts of it that you may want to make commentary on. If you want to call into the show, which is 480-236-2111. I'll play it again. Check it out, watch it, and then maybe tell me what you think. If you think, well, this is absolutely a fakery. If you tell me it's inconclusive. If you tell me, man, I've seen this, I believe it. Let me know what you think. Because for me, it's inconclusive. Like I said, I've got to be the guy that sees stuff before I can believe it. I got to be the guy. I should have gone to South Mountain during the anniversary of the Phoenix Lights. I was supposed to go to that too. What was that, like March 13th or 14th or something like that? I was actually going to go there. Then, of course, we're all thinking about that was when this virus thing actually started kicking in. And I kind of didn't go there. I kind of forgot about it, to be honest with you. But let's check this out. And by the way, it looks like my screen is too high. Let me readjust that so you see me a little bit better. Okay, so let's play this video footage again. Here we go.
Look at all those lights. You see that, guys? What is that? That's
See
insane.
a decent scattering of lights.
No, I'm serious. They're everywhere. They're like reddish.
Is there a way to do that when you're driving
Seriously.
to put lights there, or you can do it post-production also? A lot of lights in the
Look over
sky.
there.
If you had to think of it, there's probably
Look
about
to the far right.
20
Seriously, I'm not
lights
joking.
there, right?
I'm not joking.
They're moving. They're not moving.
And I think when he moves the camera,
What is it? No, they're moving.
I'm trying to think of when he moves the camera from right to
Behind
left.
us now.
Serious, they're everywhere.
No.
They're like reddish.
If that looks real or not.
Seriously.
Right.
So here we go. Here we got the lights again.
Look over there.
And they're all sort
to
of
the far
static
right.
there. You don't see any of them moving around. Kind of I can't make heads or tails of it. Anything from you guys? Do you believe that? The video footage you saw, do you believe there's a Mike Johnson? Let's say hello to him. Jeff Banks, Angie from New Jersey. Let's see. Corwin, good to see you. By the way, your friend Corwin, I think you're the guy that sent me one of the musicians that was on the show recently. And if you are, I think you are. I forget if it was you or John. I think Corwin's the guy that sent me that musician that we interviewed who was having trouble hooking up with his new girlfriend because he was in love with his ex-wife. You remember that show that we did a few weeks ago, a couple of weeks ago, or a week and a half ago, whatever it was. There's Jeff Banks says not UFOs, okay? So there's a person who says he doesn't believe it. UFOs do not require lights. Now that's interesting. Now, do not require light. What do you mean by that? And actually, I've said this before on my show when I did the paranormal show. I said, you know, these UFOs, when they come to planet Earth, do they need lights? Or do they, you know, we can fly blindly, airplanes. You know, in bad weather, they have the computer, I forget what it's called. There's a name for it. but they don't actually need to see the runway lights. They can fly on computer automation to land the airplane. So do you think that people that have come here, aliens from other planets, light years away, because they're not coming from our Milky Way galaxy, I don't believe. I don't think we have aliens living on Saturn or Neptune or Pluto, although Pluto is not a planet anymore. They declassified Pluto as a planet. But if they came from somewhere else, do you think they need lights? Do you think that they go to Pet Boys before they land, before they take off of their planet? They go to Pet Boys or they go to AutoZone and they buy a light because their light bulb burned out in front of their UFO vehicle, in front of their spaceship. And then they get to planet Earth and then they're flashing a light at us. You think they need a lights? I find that kind of suspicious right off the get-go. The fact that when we're seeing aliens and UFOs, do we really need lights? Hey, this is Dave Darren on the Dave Darren Show. This is Terry. What's going on? Hello. Hello? Oh, it looks like I'm losing people here. I don't know why. I charged my phone up. Let's see. Hold and accept. Hey, this is Dave Darren on the Dave Darren Show. What's going on?
Hi, Dave.
Hey, what's
I am so excited that you're doing this show this evening because I can't remember what it was, but say it was like maybe Wednesday or Thursday of last week.
Uh-huh.
On your page, I left a message saying, I have an idea. It's out of the box idea, but it just came to me, and I'll tell you why it came to me. You know the booms they're hearing out west? They come from under the ground, or they come from above the ground, and also trumpet sounds. Some of the folks in chat may know. I know Sparky knows. I believe John knows. Have you heard of the booms?
You know, actually, it was funny. About 2 weeks ago, I have this little device called the Ring. I have this device. It's called a Ring device, and I use it for video surveillance, right? And the Ring device, I talked about this before. They have an app so that neighbors can share things that happen, whether it was a robbery, whether something was stolen off of their porch, a package from UPS dropped off, or, well, it wouldn't be UPS, it'd be Federal Express. And they put all these posts out there on this Ring app. One of them put a post out there saying, did you guys hear that boom? And a couple people said that they heard it.
Really?
Yeah, now I didn't hear it at all. And supposedly the Ring device gives you a surveillance of 3 miles. People within a 3-mile radius or 4-mile radius of where you live have the ability to post something, and you will see it based upon your neighborhood, your zip code, and all that. But I didn't hear or feel anything. They said that they heard and felt something, and it wasn't an earthquake because they didn't say it was anything that resembled an earthquake at all. But they actually said that. I didn't feel it. I didn't hear it. But a short 3.5, 4 miles away, about 3 or 4 other people heard it. And I don't know how to explain it. I didn't hear it, so I don't know what it sounded like. I just heard someone make a reference to it.
Yeah. Well, usually, now I've never heard of it. I've heard of it out west, of course, as far as Colorado. I've never heard of it in the east. Well, last week I'm watching television, and I hear on one of the news channels that in Philadelphia, a neighborhood felt a great big boom from up above. It wasn't a sound barrier, because you know what they sound like, Dave. They don't make your house shake and keep shaking and shaking. Everybody come out in the street and they said, what is that? What is that? They kept going. And then finally it dissipated, but it scared people to death. They didn't know what it was. And it was on the news, and of course it wasn't on the news the next day. So I'm in bed all by myself, you know, and I'm thinking, and I can't sleep. I'm thinking, suppose these booms are bombs going off from different alien ships. Of course, we can't see it because of maybe a cloud cover or something. We just can't see it. But there are bombs going off. What the trumpet sounds are, I have no idea.
Well, I
I
know.
heard that on Art Cell.
Well, I know about the trumpet.
Pardon?
I know about the trumpet sounds. Actually, I'm in Arizona. We have a lot of illegal aliens coming up from Mexico into the United States. And what happens is they're eating the baked beans, and they have a lot of farts that sound like trumpets. So that's what the trumpet sound is. It's Mexicans farting very loudly because of they depending on what kind of beans they eat, they can trumpet out a B note, a C note, or a B flat note. So that's what.
A whole song, right?
Yeah, that's what that is. But as far as the booms go, and you would think if there's, by the way, if you think of hearing a loud boom in space, I think space is a vacuum. So I don't think you would actually hear that sound in space. As soon as you leave the atmosphere, it's a vacuum. I don't think sound travels through the vacuum. So unless they're in orbit within the atmosphere when we would hear it, I don't think we would hear it. So that might not be the case.
I believe they are. I believe they were.
You think?
And as far as Philadelphia, Dave, that really got me. And then I saw your thing this morning that you were going to do a show because you saw these lights. You know, I'm not sure what they are either, Dave. You know, anybody can photo shoot. Is that what you call it, photo shoot?
You Photoshop.
Anything they want nowadays, so...
Yeah, with video.
I don't know if that's so.
Yeah, you know, that is, you know, it's
But
funny.
when I saw it, Dave, I got so excited because I said, here's my theory. It's the aliens, and all the governments know about it. That's why they want us all indoors. Everybody indoors, only go out if you have to. You know, don't what do you call it? Go leave your house unless you have to. And people are getting sick. Now, I don't know if that's a man-made thing or something from the aliens. But Dave, I just believe it. It could be a possibility.
Now, do you think that there's two possibilities. One could be, and this is all conspiracy or conjecture, but, we have the COVID-19, or if you want to call it the coronavirus, whatever you want to call it, or CV. I think you call it CV, and I think that's another way of saying it also. But it could be that we are all indoors now and told to stay indoors because of either an alien abduction or an invasion, or the government is just trying to hide the aspect that they're here for some reason. Maybe they're here for a peaceful reason, and we want to hide from the general public the fact that there's aliens out there that are more visible now than typically are. So maybe it's for two reasons. One, it could be for an invasion that the aliens are conspiring with. I don't know who they. I don't know. It's just interesting.
Think about that.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Just think about that for a minute.
Yeah, well, it hasn't taken a whole lot to knock down our economy and stuff like that. Because if you look at the numbers and the statistics, there are, well, I don't know. It depends on what parts of the country you look at. I'm in Arizona here, and I don't see much of an impact at all. However, everything is closed down here. In fact, today I was walking our dog.
Sure.
I was walking our dog in the park, and even all the swing sets for the kids, all of the places where you can go and you can have like a cookout there with the grill. All the grills are covered. The place where usually you get a drink of water if you're walking to the park and exercising or jogging, that's covered over. There was a place where they had a dog watering station. That's closed. So everything is closed, and everyone is pretty much...
Even the swings? What did they do with the swings, Dave?
They just don't want kids gathering.
Did they remove them?
No, they put like a police tape around all this stuff, which is kind of a lame...
God.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. And is it really necessary? Are parents that stupid, by the way, to bring their kids and play with other kids, and then the parents are... If the people are that stupid, but I guess we have to worry about if this virus is significantly contagious, we have to account for all of the idiots out there that don't take They just don't self-understand situations. So everyone's got to suffer the consequence. I don't. And then maybe the other thing. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead, son. Go ahead.
No, well, I guess the other thing they want.
I wanted to say how good you look.
Oh.
Did you do your hair blonde?
No, it's just no. It's. I was abducted by aliens and they dyed my hair before they sent me back to Earth.
No, it looks good. It really looks good on you.
Well, thank
but
you.
I saw you here in 2012 and it was blonde. You had more of it, but it was blonde.
Yeah, well, that's when I was.
It looked good.
That was when I was indecisive on whether I was going to get a transgendered surgery or not. So I grew my hair long and dyed it blonde. I decided I look better as a guy, so I'm sticking with it. But you know, the interesting thing is that they even in Arizona, all the park benches where you just sit down there and like watch the ducks. We do have water here, by the way. It's all man-made lakes, but even the park benches that overlook the lakes, they've got signs on them. Do not sit, and some of them are actually taped off with that police tape that says "Don't cross the police zone." It's amazing. Everything is shut down in the park that I went to today. I'm surprised they didn't shut down the entire park.
That's what you know. When we had the HD1 virus, Dave, and it killed almost a quarter of the world's population. It was 400 something. It would have been a quarter if it had been 100 million more, I guess. But still, that's a lot of people. And nothing closed down. I don't remember a school shutting down. I don't remember the precautions with the gloves or anything else. All of a sudden, this comes along, and every country in the world is shut down practically. Everybody's in the house, unless you have to go out to food shop or something like that, walk the dog. But it doesn't. Think about this, Dave. You're 61 years old. I'm 64. Think about in our lifetime, we've never seen anything like this.
Yeah, that's true. And you're right. The H1, by the way, it's H1N1. And I think, by the way, Jeff said that.
Yeah, H1N1. I couldn't think of the damn thing.
Well, that's okay. If you were
because I'm so excited about this theory.
Yeah. Actually, if you were...
I really think that, and I've never seen an alien. I've never even seen a spacecraft. And I'm a person who looks for it. I want to see one, but I never have. But Dave, that came to me before I heard about the boom, and then that day I heard about the boom in Philadelphia. Never this far east have I heard of a boom.
Yeah.
And I said, there's a war going on above us, and that's what's going on down here.
Wow. Well,
the coronavirus.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because I don't live in the East Coast now. Yeah, I'm in the West Coast now. I don't hear anything at all in the sky. I don't hear any booms. I don't hear any trumpet sounds. I don't hear anything except, like I said, that ring device. Someone was mentioning that they heard one like 3 or 4 miles away, and I didn't hear it or feel it. They said they also felt it, by the way. And then I got on the web and I was looking for earthquakes because sometimes we do have earthquakes in Arizona, by the way, that come from California. And I remember one time I was working in the kitchen. And I didn't really feel it, but I looked up at the chandelier that we have, and I saw it shaking back and forth a little bit. And then I went out and looked at our pool, and you could see the pool, the water was it was moving around a little bit. Yeah, you could see the water moving around in the pool. So that was actually, and then I got on the TV and I listened to CNN, which is usually fake news, but I listened to CNN, and they did say that there was an earthquake epicenter somewhere in California. It wasn't a really big one, but we felt it in Arizona. So we do have them here. So it's interesting, but let's read some of the comments.
We have one of those, what do you call it, a fault line?
Yeah, fault line, that's right.
A fault line, is that what it's called, Dave?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
That they have in California?
Uh-huh, right. There's
Massachusetts has, well, not Massachusetts, but the East Coast has one just as large. Only one time I was a kid. I was probably about 16 years old. It felt like somebody threw a baseball at my bedroom wall. And I looked out the window and no one was around. As a matter of fact, I was sick and I was home from school. No one was around. And then I saw that night that we had a minor earthquake.
Yeah, that's right. Well, there is
So
a fault.
we do have a big fault line.
Yeah, you do have a fault line in the East Coast, and I know it goes through parts of Philadelphia or Pennsylvania, somewhere along there. But Terry, let me thank you for calling in tonight. Let me see if anyone
Okay,
else.
honey.
Let me see if anyone else has
Good talking to you, Dave.
Oh, thanks so much. Okay.
Okay,
cheers.
honey. Bye-bye.
Okay. See if anyone else will call in. But there's other conspiracies too out there. I mean, there's the conspiracy I've heard about and I've read about this coronavirus being some camouflage for alien invasion. Or it could be aliens just visiting and the country and the government doesn't want us to be aware of it. However, we are still getting out and walking around, right? I don't think even in the places where there's lockdowns, like I just talked to my parents today in Valley Forge and my brother in Philadelphia, and they're supposed to stay closer to home than we have to in Arizona. But my brother still goes out to a coffee shop. He went on South Street in Philadelphia, grabbed a coffee, walked back home to his house. He lives on 7th Street. 9th Street is where the Italian market is. He went there to, forget the name, Anthony's. It's a great place for coffee. I used to go there all the time when I was living in Philadelphia. And he went there, walked around. So now we're not isolated enough or practicing social distance enough where we would not see aliens in the sky. We're not locked into our homes where we've had monitoring devices on our ankles to make sure that Dave doesn't leave his home, his wife doesn't leave his home, he doesn't go out with the dog, the dog's got to be in his backyard. In fact, Dave can't even be in the backyard for more than 15 minutes. So we're not isolated enough to not see what's going on in space if it was an alien invasion, that they're doing a cover-up of this coronavirus. So I don't really buy that. And I don't really buy that they're shutting down the country and the world so that these aliens could come here in a peaceful meeting to meet with us. I don't really see that as an obstacle either. I do see potentially that everything is being closed down for a couple other reasons. One is that China perhaps screwed us up big time and sent this virus, whether it be knowingly or unknowingly, to the entire world population. And if they did, and we got to prove that. In fact, when this all blows over, there better be a massive investigation like they spent all the fucking wasted time on the impeachment. They ought to spend the same amount of time trying to really identify where all of this took place. What was the starting point of this? Was it China doing shit where they're scientifically trying to create a bio product to destroy potentially part of their population, which they're willing to use as guinea pigs, but then launching it off to the other parts of the world? Was it something that was derived scientifically, accidentally let go, or intentionally released? Or is it just based upon their eating habits? We see stuff about them eating like bats. And it's based upon eating bats. This virus has actually entered the first human who consumed that bat that had this disease or virus that was active enough to transmit from that bat to human. And if it is, they're eating all this shit. What are we going to do about that? Maybe we want to do something about that, and that is to just not get involved with anything Chinese anymore. Chinese products. I don't know what kind of punishment we intend to derive or give to these people if it is something that came from their country. And if it's accidental, do we still hold them accountable for something accidental? Or is this coronavirus a whole thing, another conspiracy, for the governments of the world to unite and attempt to control the people of planet Earth for their political means? Is that a possibility? I think that's a possibility, especially when you live in the United States now. How much, at least I do, some of you guys, I think all of you guys that watch the show all live in the United States. You all live in different parts of the United States. Before I moved from Delaware, I lived in Wilmington, Delaware. Don't blame me for Joe Biden, by the way, but I lived in Wilmington, Delaware. I'm coming to Arizona, right? I wanted to go to this place where I used to walk our first couple dogs to, where you would see kids, and there was a tree, and there was a branch on the tree that extended into a lake. In Arizona, all of our lakes are man-made. East Coast, all the lakes are real, right? So there's a lake there. Our dog used to swim on that lake. And what they used to do is the kids hung a really thick rope with a knot at the bottom, and they would dive from the tree branch on land and swing out and dive into the lake. You know what's going on now? You got control of the state or city government, which now they put a big sign on that tree and they put the ARS number, whatever that stands for, some legal thing where you can't do that anymore. They cut the branch off. Of course, they cut the rope off. So you can't even stick a rope up there anymore on the branch, which would give you the angle to dive into the lake. They took all that away, plus they put a sign out there. I did a video a little while ago, not too long ago, about a year ago, walking around the school building in Arizona with all the signs. Remember, the guy came out and we had a confrontation. We had a second confrontation about 4 months after that because the guy was a total douchebag. But they have so many signs now. So there is a control of individual people. There really is control. There's so many lawyers out there trying to help out the control of each individual person. It's almost like every one of our freedoms is going away. Our freedom of speech is going away. If you do anything on Facebook or YouTube, freedom of speech depends on what freedoms they want to give you. So there's control from the media. There's control from the government to control the people. There's people that want to control other people. However they do that, whether they do it forcefully on their own or if they hire a lawyer to control someone else's rights that you supposedly had violated. There's all sorts of control out there. So what I actually find more feasible is that this government shutdown of every country. How do we know that the coronavirus really exists? I don't know anyone that's got it. I mean, some of you guys do. One of the guys is my friend on Facebook. His first name is Ben. He knows someone that actually died where he works that had the coronavirus. Now, it could be that the governments of the world have decided, well, we're going to do some things here because we want to control the planet. We want to control the populations in all of these countries. We want to have a world control, a world dominance of all of our leaders, all of our government leaders in all these countries to have a collective control of the world. Right? So how do they do that? They probably have to put some kind of scare tactic out there to do it. To first of all, put us off of our guards. And second of all, put something out there that is somewhat authentic and something real, because if it's totally fabricated, we would catch on eventually, right? So they put something out there that's going to affect a percentage of the population, a larger percentage than was available that came upon the people with the flu. So they have to make it a little bit more dangerous than the flu to some degree so that they could put people in a scared mentality, make them stay home, and then start eating away at the freedoms. So obviously they start eating away of our freedoms right now. Some of us don't have the freedoms to go to certain places. We don't have the freedom to go to a restaurant and sit down. I didn't have the ability to go to a park today and swing on a swing if I chose to do that. I don't have the ability to go to, what else? I don't have an ability to sit on a park bench because they're roped off with paper on them that you can't sit there. We don't have the freedoms to go out and, for instance, today, I've never seen it. We went to, in Arizona here, we have these grocery stores. One's called Sprouts. It's more organic food at Sprouts. S-P-R-O-U-T. We went there today to just go there and pick up some common items. Nothing in particular, not any toilet paper. We went there and it was closed on Easter Sunday. Now, it is Easter Sunday, but the grocery stores were never closed on Easter Sunday. They were closed today. At least Sprouts was, and Trader Joe's was as well. I don't know if they're closed all over the country, but in Arizona, East Valley, Trader Joe's and Sprouts are both closed today on Easter Sunday. So our freedoms of shopping have gone down. The hours of operation have gone down. There's control. Gun purchases in Arizona was escalating. And I think they put some kind of limits on purchasing guns and ammunition. I don't know what those are, but I've heard stuff about that. All of our individual freedoms, our freedom to talk about the coronavirus. I heard that if you talk about the coronavirus on YouTube or Facebook like I'm doing right now and saying the word coronavirus, I heard that there's websites or there's Facebook and YouTube live videos that will be shut down. I have a friend that lives in Arizona. She was in Facebook jail for an entire month for something that she talked about related to this. It is amazing how much of our freedoms are being taken away, and the coronavirus is something that is helping that along and escalating it to happen quicker. Terry says I'm scaring her. Well, I don't know. We're old enough. I don't think we have to be scared. The younger generations better be petrified about some of the shit that's going on now. Those are the people that better worry about it because they've got to live in it after Terry and I are gone and my wife's gone and our dogs have passed away, our cats are gone. I don't think we've got to worry about it, although I do think that we're going to have I think I'm going to be affected by something that's going to happen in this country, in this world, within the next 10 years, and I'm going to witness because I'll be 71. Hopefully I'll still be around at 71, but maybe I don't want to be around at 71 because of all the shit that's going to come down eventually. I don't know what it is, but it ain't looking good. Now there's all these politicians on the liberal side that say in 7 years there's going to be something going on based upon the green movement and all that shit. So, I don't really believe in that, but I do believe within 10 years we're going to have some kind of devastation, whether it be World War III. For instance, if China is responsible for this, and we don't hold China responsible for anything, because, we'll hold smaller countries accountable for a bunch of shit, because if they do anything to retaliate against us, we will be able to retaliate back to them, and it won't cause other countries like Russia or China to take the offensive along with them and be aggressive towards us because we attacked a smaller country, because the smaller country was bullying or trying to bully us. So we will come down on those small countries. But China is not a small country. Do you remember the Olympics? The Olympics from China was at Beijing. When was that? Like 6 years ago? I forget that it's every 4 years, but it's every 2 years. It alternates summer, winter, summer, winter. The last Olympics in China, I remember this vividly. The opening ceremony had all of the Chinese people walking in a large cluster of people in robot formation. They were in such precise movement, it looked like a military achievement of what they accomplished in that opening ceremony. Even my wife said, we were watching it, the precision, the control of those people, the military objective of those people, you could see it even in the Olympic Games. You could see the precision, the control. You could see it clearly. If we have anything to do with, if this had anything to do with China, do you think that we're going to hold them accountable for it? And if we do, is it going to create World War III? I think that's a possibility. I don't think I've heard much about that. But this virus, if it's a biohazard, if it's a bioengineered virus targeted as a weapon to the United States and the entire world, whether it was purposely exposed or accidentally exposed, does it really matter? Does it really matter? And do we have to target them somehow? Do we have to hold them accountable for it? If we hold them accountable for it, what retaliation will they put upon us? What retaliation will the countries of the world that hates America because of our democracy, what retaliation will they collectively launch against us, where we then have to rely on our allies and ourselves to defend ourselves in World War III? Maybe it's going to happen. And maybe it's happening now on the drawing board, and the solution to not ending the world in World War III are all of the leaders of the entire world are getting together to try to control the entire world's population based upon the coronavirus. Isn't that a possibility as well? That this is a little teaser to see what degree of control the governments of the world can place upon the people of the world. It's something that I don't think I've heard of on any other program yet. I don't listen to news programs, or I don't listen to conspiracy theorists on radio or TV. But it is something that we should really have to consider and worry about. So, based upon today's topic, which I'll move the page down again, my topic today was UFO fleet seen over Pennsylvania on February 15th. I put up there in the little bold letters up top is COVID-19 an intentional distraction by aliens. So that's something that I put up there thinking about it. But the more and more I think about it, the more and more I think that the more probable thing that's going on is that the economies of the world are on hold and the people are held hostage based upon the economy and the economic shutdown of the world's economy. And who's in control of the world's economy and the world's control of what is done next? Who's in control of that? The people that we put in power. The President of the United States and the leaders of every single country across the globe. Is there a link and a bond between them to control the people that they want to have control? People now, especially in the last 4 years in the United States, we want to take more control, and I think the governments know that. In fact, in the United States here, with Trump being elected, who was elected based upon people that were sick and tired of the way the government was going and the lack of control that each individual person had in their government, there's a fear in that. There's a fear, probably there's even a fear in the Republican Party in itself that is just saying, these people are getting out of hand. We got to rein them back in. We got to pull them back in. They think that they're starting to have control of the government. And the people in government are saying, no way are we going to let the people come back and control us when we're in control of the people. We are not a government of the people or for the people. We are the government that's controlling the people. They're losing control. They lost control in the United States. The liberals hate that. And supposedly a lot of Americans that are Republicans think that we have a little more control of our government than we did in liberal and democratic control of the presidency. We feel like we have more control, but do we really? And does the government, Republican, Democrat, Green Party, doesn't matter, do they like the amount of control that the people are grabbing back? Or do they want to grab the control back from us? How do they do it? How do they do it? They put something out there to put the fear of God in each individual person and have each individual person scared to the degree that they're staying hibernated in their homes, controlled by the media, by the way. So what are they doing when they're home? They're scared out of their minds. They're trying to get a knowledge of what's going on. How do they get a knowledge of what's going on? They turn on the TV and they witness what we're supposed to be hearing based upon the control that they have of what we're hearing. The internet, we get on the internet, how likely is it that the stuff that we read on the internet is accurate? Or is it another type of control of the media, this time being social media on the web, that we're reading and we may not believe it initially, rather initially we may not believe it, but when it's bombarded into us day by day, hour by hour, on TV, on the internet, based upon our neighbors watching something and telling us what they saw or heard, and then hearing it from our bosses or our fellow employees, we hear it every single minute. We don't believe it initially. We get brainwashed to believe what the media is putting into our brains. And who's controlling the media? Who is controlling that? It is the governments of the world, the government of the United States. Those people are controlling what is heard in the media. And I don't fully believe, you see Donald Trump up there, who actually I voted for, and who I will vote for again, by the way. But you hear him there having arguments with the media. You start to wonder if some of that is staged, to thinking that, okay, the president is on our side because the people now have put him into power. The people have put him in there. We think now we have more control over the government than we've ever had in decades. We've got our little hand in the government now, manipulating it to our personal people's control of government. So what happens then? You get Trump up there, the president, arguing with the media to make us think that, yeah, okay, here's our guy. The media, they're definitely not our guy, but the media are the people that are projecting all of their thoughts, images, and ideas into our head. And now we hear Trump arguing with them. But, is it really a fake argument? Is it a fake fight? Is it like, you go and you see wrestling? Some people believe wrestling is real. It's all staged. It's all fake. I wonder how much of that is real. Or you have to remember, Donald Trump came from a reality TV show. How much of that reality TV show are we watching when we watch the president and the media and the war between them? And we are watching this war between our president that we put in there, getting control back of our government based upon our controlling the government, and the guy in charge, we feel connected to him. He's having a war with the media, but is it a staged war, or is it a control? Is it a mind control to make us think that there's this little separation here, but is it all controlled? And the media is in total cahoots with the government. And together they're working a formula to control us more and more. I wonder, you never hear any people talking about this shit. I don't know why. Let's see. Jeff Banks says, still waiting for Y2K and 2012 to do something. No one likes that Trump won. They wanted Hillary. Well, no one from the Liberal Party or the Democrats liked that Trump won. Everyone from the Republican Party obviously liked that Trump won because obviously they all voted for him. But you're right, people on the other side, they hate and they will never, ever like that. They will never appreciate or even acknowledge the fact that he's in power. So I don't know, a lot of rambling on today. Sandy says, to Corwin says, bingo. I don't know what that means. Let's see, anything. I could read some of the chat, but you guys are on there monitoring the chat on your own, putting chat, responding to others, so that's great. For me to read them is hard. For me to read chat is very difficult. That's why I would rather my phone rang with your ideas or your commentary than posting it in chat, because to be honest, if I read the very last chat, which I'm not going to do now, but if I read it, it might not have any meaning unless I scroll up 2 pages and read what the initial comment was from that person to put it into context. So that's why reading chat is too difficult to do. Some people have said, Dave, we're on chat all the time. You never read the chat comments, and that's the reason why, because I want you guys to call the show and contribute that way. And when you type stuff in chat, it's out of context. I got to scroll up 3 chats before to see what you said 3 times before to put it all in context and paint the entire picture. So that's why I don't really read the chats, and I can't apologize for that because that's the way it is. So curious if any, let's see, Being There says, hey Dave, what's going on? If you'd like to call in, by the way, the phone number is 480-236-2111. We know that the line works because Terry called in. We don't know that the line, everyone else's line is blocked. I don't understand that. Are you guys intimidated to call me? I don't beat you guys up on the show, do I? Let's see. Being There says, I'm new to YouTube. But I think I've seen you there before. By the way, there's a movie called Being There. Let's see. We got a phone call here. Let's see who this is. Hey, this is Dave Darren on the Dave Darren Show. Who's calling in?
Hi, Dave. This is Azariana.
Hey, Ariana, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. So what is going on? You probably heard some of my show, probably maybe all of it. Did I scare the heck out of you, or did I make you think about shit that you never thought of before? What did you think?
No, I'm just saying, like what I posted in the chat room, a new world order because of all this stuff going on,
Yeah.
Stay in your house, wear a mask at all times, even if you're in your house. Wash your hands 10 million times a day, Don't go to work. It's terrible,
Yeah.
It's terrible.
And actually now we're being paid not to go to work. And specifically, I don't know if you know this, but I know a couple people that are unemployed. I have my own business here, and I'm trying to keep my people employed, by the way. But if you are unemployed, and if you're in Arizona, the Arizona unemployment is $240 a week, which is pretty pathetic. But now, supposedly, this new stimulus for the individual person is feeding into unemployment paychecks. So they're going to be getting an extra $600 a week on top of the $240. So they're going to be getting $840 a week to survive this shutdown of the government and of businesses. $840 to stay at home. Some people will just want to do that and not even make an effort to go back to work even when it opens back up. So the control of people is also being extended based upon this little lifeline where they're being controlled to stay home and even being financially subsidized to stay home. So I wonder how much of this is control of the government trying to take control of us rather than the coronavirus.
Well, my job is essential, so I have to go to work.
Uh-huh.
So if I decide to stay away from work because I'm getting paranoid that I'm going to catch something, because no one is listening to any of the discipline that they're saying at the store, and coughing and not wearing a mask or gloves or anything else like that, not distancing and all this other garbage they're trying to promote. I don't get paid.
Right.
I can stay home all I want, but I won't get paid.
Right. Can you collect?
So-
Can you collect unemployment? Because I did see. I went to Arizona's unemployment just to read their website, and they said that if you were an individual, and someone asked a question on there. They said, "How about if I work for a essential job, but I feel fearful to go to that essential job because of the risk I am taking?" I think they said it's going to be evaluated. Now, if it takes 21 days or 41 days to evaluate that individual decision that they have to make for that one person, they said it was inconclusive. So I'm not even sure. So I don't really know. You're not exactly sure about that, or you are exactly sure? That
No. There are notices, and I was told by my bosses that if anyone decides that they don't want to work for that reason, that they're afraid they're going to catch something, their health might be in jeopardy for whatever reason, they have health issues, that you cannot apply for unemployment because your job is essential. You are an essential worker, so there is no unemployment as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. Do you feel like you should be? Do you feel like you should be paid a little bit more? I've heard that some people are saying, well, if we're essential employees and we're told by our employer that we cannot take off from work because of our fears of catching the coronavirus, so we're in fear of our lives, we're in fear of our elderly parent that lives with us, we're in fear of our children. That my child, you could say, my child has asthma, and here I am in an essential job going to work every day, and people around me, I don't know what condition they're in. I come home, my child has asthma. I've got the coronavirus. I'm asymptomatic. I'm coming home. My child who has asthma could potentially die from the coronavirus because it's a lung infection. So, are you thinking that, is any thought process going on where you work to say, you know what, we're here, we're being paid this much money on our regular job, but here we are. We're exposed to some danger. Should we be paid more based upon the risk that we're taking? Any thought process of that where you're working?
Well, they gave us a raise.
Oh, they
gave
did?
every essential grocery store a raise.
Huh.
Because of this. But it's a temporary raise because, of the situation that's going on. And so that's supposed to be an encouragement from the company, don't stay home, continue to work and whatever, And I do know that there are 10 employees who have decided at this point that they're staying home.
Huh.
So everyone is short in where I work, and they're actually looking for people.
Yeah.
So, the ones that are out of jobs, these are temporary jobs now. I'm thinking they're temporary jobs. So, if you apply at the corporation, at my corporation, you can likely get hired.
And would you be hired? Would you be hired with the? Would you be hired with the salary plus the raise and salary? I'm sure they would be.
No.
Oh no, they would.
No.
They would not be hired with the raise.
No.
Wow.
No. Whatever you start at, you start at. I don't know what that is specifically.
Huh.
I don't know what that is.
Now,
No, I think about that every day. I go to work and I'm exposed to things, and as well as every other worker, and that I work with. All the gloves and face masks are good enough, but will that really protect people? My company also will be starting free testing for this virus, whatever they're calling it now, for coworkers. I have a union place, and they they are doing that because there are people, there are employees in Massachusetts and some parts of Connecticut that have tested positive for this, and they're still working. I mean, they're not working there. You know, they were working with the gloves, the new protocol, and everything else like that, and they still got it.
Huh. Wow. Now, okay. So now I remember when I talked to you last time. I asked you a question. I said, could you wear a mask where you're working in the grocery store? And you answered no. Has that changed?
That's changed. Like I said, I'm a part of a union, so as soon as it started getting a little bit more serious, if that's the right term, they said, okay, well now you have to supply, the company has to supply masks. Some type of mask or shield or something, you know, besides gloves. Because gloves aren't a problem. You know, it's the mask, you know? They're not the medical mask, you know, that the professionals wear, they're the regulars, you know. They really won't, they're not really, I can't say it. I can't say it right, but it won't. It only protects you from some things. It cannot protect you from that.
Well, I
it's
think
not one of those masks.
I think they said that the mask more protects the individual wearing the mask from exposing others, because if he coughs or sneezes or when he talks, the mask actually blocks the virus and the product of the virus leaving your mouth, traveling into the air beyond the 6 feet and contaminating someone else. So what I've understood is the mask is more of you transmitting the disease or the virus to someone else rather than you being protected from that other person based upon you wearing the mask. So I heard it's kind of the opposite. So I'm curious about this. So now you do wear masks and you wear gloves, and are you mandated to wear them, or is it voluntary? Or are you mandated?
Well, no, it was typically our choice in the beginning, but now it's kind of everybody's doing it. So, you know, and customers are coming in with face masks and gloves and things. So, you know, it's that type of thing. And I think that it's somewhat good, because if it's not, at least it might protect something. You know, maybe not that. Maybe not the virus, but maybe something, you know. But I keep getting different information. They're saying that it could last on the surface for hours or days. And no matter what you're using, it still might be there. Really know what to believe. So I get confused with that.
Okay.
You know?
Okay. We do have another caller, but let me ask you one more question, Ariziana. I'm curious. And the caller that called in, can you hold on for 1 second? And so one more question, Ariziana. I'm curious about this. I haven't been to the grocery store in about a week, so I don't know if things locally here have changed. But if you're an essential worker, and now you're paid overtime for being an essential worker. By the way, are your hours the same? Because if your hours are cut back, because I see some of the places that we go and shop, the hours are shortened now. They're closed. They open up later and they close earlier. So if your amount of hours are being shortened, but you're given this temporary raise for being exposed, you could be still making the same amount of money because your hours are less. Has that happened or not?
No, the hours are the same. After it closes, after the business closes, we're cleaning. We're stocking shelves. We're doing things. So, I mean, our hours, we can, you know, we're still there. But we just don't, we're close to customers. We're close to, you know.
Right. Okay. And one more question. One more question for you. Since you guys are wearing masks, and since the mask protects you from transmitting the virus to someone else that you're talking to, how about the customers coming in? Is there any mandate for customers that come in where they're screened at the front door and they say you got to wear a mask to come into the facility. Anything like that happening?
No, we're not doing that. Our local Walmart has one way in and one way out. So they've changed their habit, and they have a line outside, and everything is 6 feet. I think it is.
Yeah.
And they tell you where to stand. So you can't actually walk in any door. You know, you have to walk in a certain door, and they count how many people are there. This is Walmart, and they have people within the store to help you, so you can get in and get out as soon as possible. So the line outside can come in. You know, and they only allow, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 people at a time. So as soon as one goes out, they click, and then they have a walkie-talkie, and they tell somebody, oh, okay, somebody else, let someone else in. But we aren't we're not doing that.
Yep. Okay. Ariziana, I appreciate you calling in. We're going to get to our other caller, but thanks for calling into the show and sharing your experience where you're living locally. Okay?
Nice talking to you. Bye-bye, Dave.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Okay, we're going to get to our new caller on the line who's actually from Arizona because it's in the same area code. So who's calling in, and can I talk to you, please?
Hey, Dave, it's Jeff Woline here.
Hey, Jeff. How's it going, man?
Hey, how you doing, brother?
Hey, not too bad. So I guess you're calling in about the UFO topic, I'm thinking, right?
Well, yeah, you know, I didn't see all of it. Is there more of the video?
It's probably about 30 seconds or 40 seconds. Did you see that? If you want, I can replay and you can watch it. If you're watching the YouTube imagery, you can see the video. I'll play it again for you.
Well, my computer is just now warming up, and but is there any video of them, like longer video, or is that only 30 seconds long?
As far as I know, is the only clip I saw, which was available on Facebook. I think it was like 40 seconds long. I didn't even explore or look for a longer version of it, so I have no idea if there is a longer one. It was filmed supposedly in Valley Forge or King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. The reason I took interest in it is because my folks live in Valley Forge, PA, so that caught an interest to me. I didn't ask my parents if they saw it or saw anything like that. I didn't witness seeing it, but I saw the imagery. I thought it was unique. I thought it was somewhat interesting. Now you're a person that can actually look at stuff and validate if it's real or not, correct? I think that's one of the things you can do.
Absolutely, yeah. I've seen these things personally for a number of years. I've had them fly over my house. I filmed them over there by South Mountain. And so, yeah, you know, I'm very experienced in this topic here, and this is why I'm calling in. I would like to maybe see it on a bigger screen. I'm loading up my computer now to try to take a look at it.
Okay.
Because, you know, on the phone, it's just so small. So I'm trying to get the computer going here. Okay, here we go. We found you. Okay.
Okay,
I got you. So
you want me to run it again?
Yes, please.
Okay, so here we go.
Look at all those lights. You see that, guys?
If you can, leave it on as long as you can.
I'll leave it on for the full 30 seconds or 40 seconds.
No, I'm serious.
Okay.
They're everywhere.
It should be running now. I know there's
They're
about
like
a 10
reddish.
second delay, but it should come up now.
Seriously.
The air right. What the heck is that?
Look over there. Look to the far right. Seriously, I'm not joking. I'm not joking.
They're moving. They're not moving. We moved.
What is it? No, they're moving.
No. It's us moving. They're behind us.
Okay, I got it now.
They're behind us.
Okay, yeah.
Everywhere.
No.
Yeah, that does look good.
Seriously.
The air right.
It does look similar to what we've seen before, but
Look over there.
at least one thing that kind of boggles my mind a little bit is at least 1 to 2, maybe 3 of them are flickering.
Right.
So, and, you know, it does kind of resemble Chinese lanterns. I'm not saying that's what they are because, you know, the video is kind of grainy. I mean, yeah, just keep running. Yeah, that's good there. But they are staying in formation, and which is good. And And that's how, you know, you can kind of tell if these things are legit or not, because they do stain information. Yeah, can you run that by again?
Oh, yeah, I can run it again. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here it goes.
Look at all those lights. You see that, guys? What is that?
That's one of the things you want to look for,
That's
because,
insane.
you know, Chinese lanterns, I mean, they'll drift apart away from each other. Flares are small and they drift away from each other. They don't stay information. So the things that you really want to look for is, you know, for one, is it flickering? Does it look like fire in the sky? Is it staying information? Is it falling to the ground? Is there smoke? Is it staying in a line? Are they drifting away from each other? Little things like this. And here we go. Okay, I got it going again now. Yeah, that's a lot of them. So, and they are staying in a line like that. And
now, one of them was flickering, but now let me ask you this question.
Right.
When they're flickering, could it be the recording device that's recording it that makes it look like it's flickering? Because you're going to get, when people take these video imagery, they're going to say, well, they're going to defend it. They're going to say, I saw something that really was UFOs. They're going to defend it. And then you say, well, I saw something flickering, and they could say, well, you know, I took it with my cell phone. My cell phone probably maybe doesn't take as clear a picture as I might like, or as clear a video. So I saw it in the sky. It looked like it wasn't flickering. But the imagery that I took, the video I took, because of the limitations of my cell phone, makes it look like it's flickering. So how can you be really sure about that, flickering being an element that you disprove it?
The rest of them, only like maybe 2 or 3 of them are flickering, and the rest of them aren't. And so if it's a cell phone being recorded, or if it's a video camera or anything like that, all the lights would be flickering. The whole image would be flickering, not just a singular one. So everything would be flickering.
Okay.
So while you're filming these things, and, you know, one is flickering but the others aren't, you know, that's real time. There's nothing, you know, no computer malfunction or camera malfunction or anything like that. I really would like to see, you know, the whole video. It does look like it's been cut in two, and
it did.
And that's not good either. You know, to analyze a video, you want to see raw video. You don't want to see any edited video. You want to see raw video from start to end, because you want to see how they leave. You want to see how they leave the sky. Anything that's cut and spliced, the way this video has room for suspicion. You don't want to do that, because it's like, well, what does the videographer have to hide? Why did he cut it off right there? How come he didn't let us see the whole thing?
Right.
It does look good to me. There's a couple things in there that could resemble Chinese lanterns, but then there's other stuff that isn't. So, in my personal opinion, it looks real to me. It looks good. It looks like real UFO lights. If we could see the full video to actually verify that, that would be great.
Okay, another question for you. You know, with today's software to really make videos that could be faked via Photoshop or via even the software I use to create the radio show, I use this product called Move ABI. I could probably pull off a pretty good fakery if I chose to. Is there anything that can reverse engineer a fakery to be able to tell that it was photoshopped? In other words, is there software that you have or that's available to take a video like that and expose the fake editing that was done?
Well, yeah, of course, there's stuff out there that you can do. There's different types of filters that you can use. But, you know, the best program that you can ever use is someone who's personally seen these things for themselves. You know, anyone who has seen these things on a number of bases, who has filmed these things and has seen them on video, you know right away if something's real or not. You know, just because you know how these things act, you've seen them for the last little while, you've seen them all your life. I was born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was seeing these things as a kid. So I was pretty much brought up on these things. I didn't start filming them until 2004 and really studying them, you know, because I kept seeing them everywhere in the sky. So I wanted to know what was going on.
Yep.
And so I kept seeing them, I kept filming them, and you become trained. You know what to look for. You go out there, you videotape airplanes, you videotape Chinese lanterns, you videotape flares, you videotape drones, you videotape balloons. Okay, you go out there and you you identify what everything is in the sky. So when you see something on video, it clicks in your mind, oh, wait a minute, I found a balloon that looks exactly like that, so this, could be a balloon. Or I've seen a flare that could, resemble a flare. Or I have seen real lights in the sky that is unexplained. I have seen real UFOs in the sky that can't be explained. I have filmed it. So you get to know. You have a trained eye. One of the ways you can really tell if something is CGI or not is the grain in the video. When you look at a video, and so the noise or the grain, for instance, a video is a UFO leaving a mountain. And everything is kind of grainy and out of focus except for the UFO. If the UFO is clean and clear, that has been photoshopped. That was put in after the fact. That is somebody going over there, filming the mountains, and then coming back on a computer and putting the UFO in with the computer. Okay. Now, there are some good people who have mastered that, and what they will do is they will create a video, and then they will take their cell phone or a video camera, and then they will videotape the video from the computer into trying to fool the experts, because then all the grain, all the noise in the video matches because it was filmed that way. You get it? So you have to really look for things that just don't seem normal, things that are out of place and stuff like that.
Yep.
So yeah,
Here's a question for you. For instance, I went with my wife and myself. We went with her twin sister and her husband. We went to the Grand Canyon. And the guy, my brother-in-law from Japan, he had his camera almost looked like the Hubble telescope. He's got this big, long zoom lens on it. So my question to you is, in today, with all the great technology, we've got the Very Large Array in Mexico. Is that where it is, that Very Large Array? I think it's in New Mexico. I'm sorry, did I say? It's in New Mexico, and I actually went to see it, where they have those massive amount of large array dishes out there looking for sound from distant planets. We've got, for instance, there in Saturdays in Arizona here in the East Valley, they have a telescope club that gets together. We have this park called this Riparian Preserve. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's in the East Valley. They've got a big telescope there, and I remember I went there, and we were looking at Saturn. We could see the rings of Saturn. With all of this great technology that we've got now, with the Hubble telescope, the telescopes that we can see in parks that are substantially expensive, why can't we get good imagery of a UFO? Granted, they could be moving fast, but then you would see it, and we could slow it down, and we could visualize it and get a grip and a clear image of a UFO. Why is there nothing clearer than a dot on a screen?
Well, I have had these things fly right next to me within a few hundred feet, and I got clear video of this thing. And, what a lot of people don't understand yet, sure, spaceship technology, crap, little gray guys running around, could be possible. But I think after seeing these things on a number of times, videotaping them, seeing them all my life, and studying the rock art on the mountains around Arizona, and finding out the real history of Phoenix, Arizona, you kind of change your mind about these things, and it's not a crap at all. These things are living entities. I first discovered this in 2005, that it's not really spaceships that we're dealing with here. It's another life form. It's another living entity. And so a lot of times, like I've got a couple cameras here, and I just bought this one nice camera, a sophisticated camera, and it takes beautiful shots if it recognizes what it's looking at. But if it doesn't recognize what it's looking at, for instance, an orb in the sky, it's not going to pick it up. It won't pick it up at all. So I got frustrated with this brand new camera that I just bought. I mean, it was great at Disneyland. Hell, I took wonderful, beautiful pictures at Disneyland. But when I come back here and I'm trying to film a UFO in the sky, it won't even see the damn thing. So a lot has to do with the cameras. The cameras have to be able to train on stuff like that. And I think what it is something like, this camera here that I'm using, it doesn't have manual focus on it. And that's another problem. So you want to use a camera that has, manual focus on it. So I had to go back to one of my old cameras. But that has a lot to do with it. And, you know, a lot of people, they start filming these things and they just don't keep up with it, or, you know, I mean, forgive me, but they're amateurs and things like that. So it has a lot to do and plus, you know, a lot of things that I'm always telling people, look, don't use your cell phone. Use a video camera, okay? Because the cell phone, it will look messed up. You know, it will. And you don't have the capabilities of zooming in all these things. You want to use a regular video camera. And this is why I carry a video camera everywhere I go, because you never know what you're going to see in the sky. So, but a lot of people, all they have is their cell phones, and so they use that, and that could have a lot to do with it also.
Oh, no, that definitely has a lot to do with it, because, for instance, about 8 months ago, we had that blood moon in the sky, and I went out with my cell phone to take a picture of the blood moon. And you would think that my cell phone would have gotten a great picture of that, and it didn't. It looked horrible. It was inconclusive. So you're right. So you're right. But now, when you said that you've seen UFOs very close to you, how can you estimate how far you think they were from you? Can you estimate?
Oh, man, this thing, when it came out of the sky, I'm on the second story apartment, looking out my kitchen window towards South Mountain. I'm about a mile away from South Mountain. This was in 2005, February 2nd of 2005. I looked up in the sky to the east, and I saw this what looked like a black spider, and it was going counterclockwise. As soon as I jumped on the camera, 1, 2, 3, the camera's ready to go. I hit record. As soon as it did, it dropped down in front of me. So it was about, give or take, about close to maybe 1,000 feet up, maybe a little closer, maybe 700 feet when I first saw it, and then it dropped down. And when it did, it went right past my window, and I'm guessing it within like 300 to 500 feet away from me in the sky. I'm on the second story apartment, and this thing flew eye level to me. And I filmed this thing going across the sky, coming like right down eye level with me. And as it went past the window, I then repositioned the camera because the window field got in my way. So I had to reposition the camera. And as I did, it zigzagged in front of me. It went up over the palm trees, it zigzagged in front of me, and then it shot over South Mountain. And then I jumped back on camera and started filming this thing. And it flipped over on its side, and it was doing some crazy stuff, and it was just cruising towards South Mountain. Now, I took that video to News Channel 3, and that made Video of the Day on News Channel 3 in Phoenix, Arizona, and it was unexplained. And when you look at it, when you slow it down, when you zoom in, you can actually see it changing shape. And sometimes it even looks like it's got skin on it. You know, a lot of interpretations on these petroglyphs out here, they call some of these six-figure men with tails, they call them lizard men. And, you know, it really kind of dawned on me, look, this thing looked like it had skin on it. It was not a craft, in my opinion. This thing was changing shape. It went from a spider to, like, this blob to back to a spider. I mean, it was changing shape. You can see it on my website. You can see it on my YouTube. You can search my name on the internet and find all kinds of stuff about it. And I call it the spider UFO.
Okay, so now a question for you. So you sent this to one of the TV stations in Phoenix, and it got on the Video of the Day. Did you get feedback from anyone that saw it? For instance, they put it out there, maybe they put your website out there. I don't know if they did that. Did you get any feedback? Did people believe it, or were people skeptical about it? What was the range of that, percentage-wise?
You know, the news didn't know what it was because they were like, at all. They didn't understand. They couldn't explain it. You know, so if it was, and you know what? I mean, this was videotaped in 2005. So drones was not available to the public until 2007. So this wasn't a drone, and drones you can see the propellers and you can hear it make noise. Not a drone, not a plastic bag, not a balloon of any kind, anything like that. And you know. Because no one is paying attention, this is how these things are getting away with being in our skies. Because no one's watching, no one's looking for them. Okay, you have to look up. You have to be aware of what's going on in the sky. Because these things don't make any noise. They don't cast any shadows. You won't even know that they are there until you look up. And then a lot of people, because of wrong information, they're looking for spaceships. They're looking for crafts, okay? So they see this light in the sky, and they say, oh, it must be a flare. Oh, it must be a drone. You know, or it must be a balloon because, you know, it's changing shape and this and that. So a lot of people disregard them being in the sky, and this is how they're getting away with it because people just don't understand yet.
Right. Now, I got to ask you this question because I've had this discussion before, not with you, but with other people. All right, these by the way, I do believe in beings from other planets. I'm not sure if they've come here to planet Earth, and so I'm not going to get into that realm of it. But we see them in the sky, and they're lit up. They're illuminated. Why are they illuminated? Obviously, if they could travel these light years away and get to planet Earth, perhaps they're traveling faster than the speed of light. They've accomplished a solution to Einstein, who says we cannot exceed the speed of light. Maybe they have. Maybe they found wormholes. Maybe they know how to bend space. However they got here, they have this massive amount of technology. Why do they need the illumination of their craft in space? Why do they need to be lit up? What's the reason for that lighted up object in the sky?
Well, you know, studying these things and understanding what's going on here and you know, studying them for 20 plus on years and really looking at their history, I am convinced that just by, you know, studying their history and studying the people who dealt with them 1,000 years ago, the Hohokam Indians, their carvings, whatnot, understanding the interpretations of the petroglyphs, I am convinced that these things are not from another planet, but this is actually their planet also. They have always been here. The Native Americans tell you, man, they go up on the mountains, they talk to the spirits. Well, these spirits are what we call UFOs today, and they actually reside here on Earth. Just as, you know, the oceanographers are finding new species of life below the oceans, this is a new species of life above the oceans that the scientists fail to really acknowledge, and the people who do know these things and do know their history are not going to say anything because of their past, and that's scary, and we can go into that later. But so the reason why they're hanging around, you know, certain spots around the Earth is because of the energy. For instance, South Mountain was created by a fault line. All right, so these things are attracted to the energy during the certain seasons of the year. So when the sun gets in the right position, the Indians say it opens up these doors, and that's what these skywolves represent carved on these mountains here, are doorways for these spirits. So they're absorbing their energy. In 2004, I had these lights hanging right over the east side of South Mountain, over the power plant on Ray Road. Okay, now that power plant is bored down into a fault line. Now, I believe when they're all lit up like that, when they're generating lights, it's the energy. It's the energy that they have absorbed. You know, fireflies, they have a light too. It's not from the energy, it's just their nature. Okay, and that's what these things kind of are. You know, it's in their nature to light up. It's not some spaceship technology, some gray guy pushing buttons to make light. No, that's not it at all. These are species that light up and light up more when they're absorbing energy.
Okay, so I got that. I can rationalize that. I'm curious about this. These beings were here before us and in parallel to us at the moment. Why are they staying away from us? Do they have a fear of us? Do they think that we would have a fear of them if they presented themselves openly and often and without hiding themselves? Why? Why is that? If this is their planet and now we are part of this planet, we came here after them, or however you believe we came here, whether it was God-given intervention or if it was evolution, whatever you believe, why are they staying away from us and hiding from us? For the most part. For the most part, they obviously are. I haven't seen them. My wife hasn't seen them. I don't know anyone who's actually seen or told me that they've seen a UFO, with the exception of people that checked out my show. Why the obscurity? Why not an open existence shared with us?
Um, you know, I think you really need to start, looking in the sky because they are here. And like I said before, they follow the seasons. So it's a pattern what's going on. So, during the equinox and the solstice, the sun is in the right position to open up these energy spots. And so basically they're following the sun, they're following the energy. So after equinox and after solstice, they move somewhere else. So basically, the hot times to see these things are January, February, March, April, May, June, and July. That's the best time to see these things in the sky. You're like almost guaranteed to see one in those months. They're here on the other months also, but those are the hot months to actually see them.
Okay,
but when you look at the history of these things, and the question was, why are they hiding from us? It's because of their history. So when you examine the history and you examine what the Native Americans say about these things, because they were here first, they were the ones that saw and dealt with these things. They were the first ones to record the Phoenix Lights and to record these UFOs to us, to them, spirits of the earth and sky, by carving their sightings on the rocks. What they say, especially with the Hopis say that we are in the fourth world, okay, and we are about ready to enter the fifth world. And every time the world changes, whether it's fire, whether it's ice, whether it's pole shifting, whatever it is, the people who survive that Holocaust don't know how to live after that. So these things in the sky are actually, they come down and they help mankind. Every world you'll find, when you really do the studies on this, you'll find that these things are always with mankind in the beginning, and they're here to help people. A lot of it, especially with the Holocaust, it led to their downfall because they followed these beings in the sky. They worshiped these beings in the sky as gods, and this was a no-no because, the stories go, the petroglyphs and the oral tradition of what really happened to the Holocom Indians, and Holocom is a Pima word for the people who are gone, the people who are missing, the people who got taken away, because we don't know where these people went. The archaeologists want us to believe, well, they simply migrated somewhere else because it got too hot. But there is no evidence, there's no proof on where these people went. They were here and conquered Arizona for 1,000 years, and all of a sudden they simply disappeared. Okay, now, when you look at the petroglyphs and when you look at what the Native Americans say through oral tradition, through generation upon generation upon generation, they will tell you that because the sacrificing had stopped, because South Mountain was a holy mountain, there's altars on South Mountain, and South Mountain wasn't the original name. The original name of South Mountain was Mount Sepoa, Mountain of Mercy. It was a sacred, holy mountain, and it still is today. And they were sacrificing performed on there. And after the sacrificing had stopped, they say that the devil came from the east and took these people away.
Sacrificing of hang on. Sacrificing of who? Let me get a couple words in here edgewise so I can direct it a little more. But sacrificing, who's being sacrificed here?
It says that they were sacrificing enemies, people who are trying to rob from them, people that they kind of had war with, and they were sacrificing children.
Okay. So let me get back to really what I want to understand here is. So you mentioned, I asked you why we see lights, and you told me it's an energy absorption, which makes sense. You told me that they were here in the planet before humanity was, and in parallel to humanity. Do they know that they are exposing themselves periodically, or is it something that they're here, they're in a different realm, and at different periods of time, the energy that they're absorbing exposes them to us where we see them? Is that a possibility, a probability? Are they accidentally exposing themselves to us at those times when we see them? Because like I said to you, I don't understand why they're so hidden to us, intentionally hiding themselves. But you gave us all that in a really long dialogue. But I want to really understand why we don't see them. And I look up in the sky a lot. I'm walking our dog, and Arizona. We live in Arizona. You look up in the sky, you see the whole sky very clearly. So it's not like I'm in New York City where the buildings and the lights of the buildings makes it hard for me to see the sky. So I do look up in the sky every night. My wife and I, we see shooting stars in the sky quite often. So I'm looking up there and I don't see them. Now, obviously, I'm not in South Mountain. I'm not in the hot spots. I don't know where the hot spots are to see them. But why isn't it a huge amount of reports every day of a sighting? And maybe there are on the web because I'm not looking on the web for sightings every day. But why is it that we don't have this massive amount of sightings? Is it not happening a lot because it's an accidental exposure of themselves to us based upon taking in this energy at a certain time, which is not intentional? Give me that. I don't understand still. I still don't understand.
Well, they were kind of lying in dormant for at least, after the HOCON, they were kind of hidden away. That's a whole other story in itself. But slowly and surely, as the fourth world ends and the fifth world is about to ready to happen, more and more are coming out and revealing themselves to us. Now, they haven't made contact with us because it is not time yet. It's not time for these beings to make contact with man. They're simply just watchers. Now, nobody knows when the time will happen. Not even these things, but these things do realize that
hang on. Okay, so now, interesting you said, is that we don't know what the timing is where they're going to expose themselves to us more consistently. And you say we don't know that timing. So how do you personally know that this timing, how do you know that to be true?
A lot has to do, I go with what I can verify. I don't go with hearsay. I don't go with stories. I go with what I can prove. And what we can prove is some of these texts written anywhere from 3,000 to 4,000 to 6,000 years ago. Not only from the Babylonian when they talk about the Anunnaki, but also some of these biblical scrolls. I mean, these biblical scrolls talk about these things. And actually, when you take religion aside, take religion out of the Bible, and you read the Bible as type of a history book, it tells you what these things are. It tells you how these things were cast down to earth, and it tells you the people that worship these things as God. It tells you about the Nephilim. It tells you what to look for on their return to make contact with man again, as far as prophecy. Well, a lot of people are saying that we're at the end of days.
Okay. So let me ask you this question. When I see things that were written a couple hundred years ago, I'm skeptical about how accurate it is. If we're talking about things written thousands of years ago, there was nothing to write down and document. There was no computer. There was no thing that kept viruses away from corrupting data. So when we see things from thousands of years ago, we have to wonder how many things were stories told to children just to entertain them because there was no MTV, there was no Netflix and all that. So you have to wonder how much of this stuff was around campfires, telling stories to children, and passed down as fact. We're skeptical. I'm skeptical.
If stories like that were just stories of a book that had no meaning, then they wouldn't have survived this long. The reason why they have survived this long is because they were sacred texts, and they were buried hundreds of feet in tombs, and they were concealed. They were hidden in jars, at the Dead Sea. They were concealed away. If these were just, regular, Stephen King novels, no, they would not survive this long. The people back then in the day wouldn't give a shit. It was just a story. But here, they wanted to preserve. They wanted to save this because it was important.
Yeah, but on the other hand, people from a long time ago were probably more superstitious than they are now. So, for instance, we have King Tut, Tutankhamun, right? Supposedly he had like a rabbit's foot. And this rabbit's foot, whenever he put it in his pocket, he felt an energy inside of him that gave him the ability to lead people. And it's like Charlie Brown with the one character carrying that little the towel on his back, and so they take Linus. They take these individual items and they take whatever is possessing them or they think in their mind, is giving them power and control. They want to make sure that they carry that rabbit's foot for instance, people, I worked in Las Vegas. I was a blackjack dealer. I remember I was at this table. The floorman said I was losing. The floorman gave me 3 pennies and he told me, he said, Dave, these are my lucky pennies. Keep these in your pocket. They're going to make you win. He was superstitious to an immense amount to give me those 3 pennies. And he was serious about that because the next day I went, he asked me if I had those pennies in my pocket. He wanted to see them. He was superstitious. Thousands of years ago, people were very superstitious. Then they buried the superstition item into that tomb because they thought in the afterlife, that rabbit's foot that King Tut had wanted to be preserved in his tomb with him. So that's how those things could be buried in those tombs for thousands of years and uncovered because we've mined the tomb. And we're thinking that these things are there, they're preserved because they're authentic. They're preserved potentially because of the superstition that these people have to think that this thing gave them the power to be able to lead millions of people. And the thing that gave them that power was that minuscule thing, that insignificant thing that really had nothing to do with it at all. So how do we know that these tombs that are concealing the Bible and the scrolls, how do we really know that these were just not stories buried because people believed them? How do we know that? I'm not a religious person at all. Obviously, you've noticed that. How do we know the Bible's for real? I don't believe it. To be honest with you, I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Well, you have to really ask yourself, for instance, the Egyptian tombs, the Egyptian pyramids, excuse me. So how is a culture way on the other side of the planet building pyramids? And then we have the Mayans and some of these other Indians that back in the day that had no contact with each other at that time, building and erecting the same buildings. Why is this significant? Why is the Egyptians building pyramids and why is the Mexicans building pyramids? What does pyramids have to do with it? It's like, why is there a Lucky Rabbit's foot over there in Israel, but there's also a Lucky Rabbit's foot over here in the United States? What is the connection here? And one of the things that you can really verify, it's really kind of cool, is you can go out there and you can read some of these old texts, and then you can go out and examine the Native American rock art here in the Americas. And when you read those texts and then you look at the prehistoric rock art, it all matches. It talks about the giants. It talks about the sacrifice. It talks about the next lamb. All this stuff that we read, we can see on the petroglyphs around the mountains of the United States are prehistoric photographs of what these texts are talking about.
Well, you asked me, okay, so how can one culture build a pyramid and then another culture so far away that has no way of communicating, because we're talking about a long time ago before any of the electronic capabilities of understanding what someone else was doing thousands of miles away, how could they build the same type the same type of structure? But if you think about it, the human brain is wired the same from human to human. We have cultural variances, but based upon evolution, based upon being on planet Earth, we have a common geography. Geography varies, but we still have the elements in the ground that are the same. So we have the basic wiring of our brains to be humans. We have the geography of the planet, the elements of the planet. So having one civilization build something and having another civilization thousands of miles away, nowhere in communication with each other, how did they build similar things? It's because the brain, the environment, and the elements of the planet create the commonality to create similar things. No?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if that can be proven or not. I mean, the way that
can it be disproven?
Someone is building the same type of structure is if they have already seen the structure, to build it, to actually understand it. And I think where these pyramids are coming from are what the ancient ones are seeing in the skies. Because these beings, these phoenix lights, these red, orange, amber lights, and some of these other entity UFOs actually fly in pyramids. And a lot of people mistake this as a craft, as one of those TR-3B, spaceships, because they're flying in a triangle.
Okay, but what is the first thing a very early human would see when they're walking around planet Earth? They're going to see what? They're going to see a tree. A tree is thicker at the bottom, and thinner at the top. So they're thinking to themselves, they're thinking about how can we build a structure that can survive the weight of the topmost part. How can we build that? If we build it square, we're going to have a difficulty in building it to be able to be stable. The easiest thing to build is it's lighter at the top, heavier at the bottom. A natural development, I would think, would be they're seeing a tree, they're seeing that triangle, they're seeing that there's more fruit at the bottom and it can support more fruit at the bottom than at the top because it's too heavy. If it was built square, it'd be too heavy at the top. The natural foundation, I would think, would be a pyramid. I would think that'd be the first thing to come to my mind. Pyramid.
No, actually, that doesn't really seem, too stable. I mean, because the pyramids, they're bricks upon bricks, on top of each other, and it's not really hollow like the Luxor in Las Vegas. There are actually little tombs and tunnels in there, and actually, tombs. And so building a pyramid to make a house out of just doesn't seem. I mean, that would collapse. I mean, it's really simple, easier to build a mud brick house and then put leaves or straw or other timber on top for a roof. Things like that. So, they some kind of influence these people, whether it was the stars in the sky that made them build these pyramids, or if it was these entities that are flying around in pyramid formations, and they wanted to resemble this type of structure on the ground to worship these things. The pyramids in Egypt are actually aligned with Orion's belt. It's actually upside down now, but those three pyramids are perfectly aligned. If the magnetic poles, if the poles were in reverse when the pyramids were first made, it would exactly align with Orion's belt. But because the Earth has shifted since then, it's now backwards. It's in a perfect aligned array towards Orion's belt. And these windows, if you will, these shafts coming out of the pyramid, is directly aligned with Mars and some of these other planets that you see in the skies, and Venus and stuff like that. And especially there's a structure, there's a pyramid out there in Egypt where each generation, because Venus would move, right? Venus would move in the sky, and every time Venus would move, each generation, they would build a building on top of a building, on top of a building, on top of a building. They would just keep building buildings on the spot where the exact same spot was in the beginning. So to have somebody, because when you look at that, somebody is 2,000 miles away are thinking about pyramids, and then somebody over here 2,000 away is thinking about pyramids. You're talking about ESP here, okay? You're talking about some kind of brainwave that they're all connected. I don't think that's very possible. I think something influenced them to make these pyramids, and,
I don't know. We're going to leave it at this. I'm going to say that I'm doubtful about things written from thousands of years ago to be deemed as accurate as we're trying to guess they are. Because I don't see accuracy. I don't see accuracy from something I hear from somebody. If I ask anyone something from 2 weeks ago, the story is going to change dramatically between what they told me 2 weeks ago and what they tell me now. So how can I deem anything to be accurate from 1,000 years ago? I just don't see anything that's buried to be something that is worshipped, is authentic and real, when I think that something was buried because of superstition. And I just think that
is true. That is true. I mean, there's a lot of stuff left out of the Bible. I mean, Noah wasn't the only ark that was built during that flood. I mean, the Sumerians talk about their type of boat that they built. So there was many stories, left out, and a lot of stories. The Bible for like 30 years was only hearsay in the first place. Until somebody actually wrote it all down. And then later on, they found, some of the biblical texts, especially with the Essenes, the Dead Sea Scrolls, and that kind of verified some of the stuff. And then some of the caves, when they found the Book of John and the Book of Revelation, things like that. So for many years, it was even illegal. You would lose your life by bringing the Bible out of Israel. They would decapitate you. So it was very, secretive. They didn't want this Bible getting released out of Israel. This is a holy text, And especially with the Catholic Church, they went in there and changed things around and left these bits and pieces out. So yeah, a lot of that stuff has not been, is accurate, but the stuff that we can verify is what we, can verify through ancient archaeology, biblical archaeology, what we see in the skies today, and what's written, what's carved on the rocks around the world, and what's written in these texts. That is what's credible.
Wow. Okay. So I had a thought in my mind. You're right that Noah's Ark was not the only boat. There was, a long time ago, thousands of years ago, along with Noah's Ark, there was also the Love Boat. And that song, remember? Love, simple and true. You remember? So the Love Boat was actually flying around, and the Love Boat actually survived as well as Noah's Ark. So we all know that to be true. I got to thank you for joining the show. By the way, how do people who found you fascinating? In fact, someone said that you've got a lot of energy. You might take these energy drinks. So you obviously do a show. Do you still do a show where people can listen to you and then pick your brain like I did tonight? How can people listen to you or check you out?
Oh, man, just talking about these things, it's so fascinating. It's so exciting, because I've been studying these things for over 20 years now, and it's just, when you talk about it, you really understand things, and you just get pumped about it, because it's so fascinating. And but you can find me on Facebook, Petroglyphs in the Sky, Jeff Woolwine, WOLWINE. You can search my name on the internet. I'm all over the internet. I have a book on the lost history of Phoenix, Arizona that explains what the Phoenix Lights really is. And follow me on Facebook, contact me. If you have any UFO sightings you would like for me to look at or any petroglyphs, shoot them my way, man. Let's talk about UFOs. I love it.
Okay. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna look at your web. You said that you took some really clear pictures of some UFOs. Now, does that mean that when we look at it, we're going to see defined, clear imagery? Are we going to see sharp lines? Are we going to see windows? Are we going to see anything that's going to really... I'm wearing a shirt tonight that has spaceships on it. Am I going to see anything that's defined as a craft, or am I going to see anything that's defined as a life
Absolutely
form?
not. Absolutely not. These things are not a craft at all.
Right,
these things are like flying snakes, flying worms. These things are alive. They're conscious. They know what's up. They know who's looking at them, who's not.
Okay, so you said that. So when we see the imagery that we're going to see on your website, and maybe I'll pick an imagery and I'll put it on my YouTube for another show or something like that. When I see a snake, am I going to see a snake that's going to be potentially available to photograph on planet Earth, or am I going to see something very, very different? And I'm going to say, oh my God, this is not an earthly body. But I'm going to see a clear image of it. What clarity am I going to get from when I look at your site?
Oh, man, my website is petroglyphsonthesky.net. And there you can see, like, when you go onto the UFO sightings, when you click on that page, the very first sighting you see on the left top, it says Spider UFO. That's like my best one of all time. One of my best ones, anyway. And that one I have still photographs of that spider. When you can see, actually... it looks like skin on it. You can see how it flies through the sky and how it dips down. And so clearly this is not a spaceship. It's not a craft. It's not a craft. There's no windows, things like that. I have filmed a lot of serpents in the sky. The first one that I videotaped was a black and red snake. It came out of one of the canyons on South Mountain. It climbed to about 1,000 feet, and then it went over my apartment complex. And it sat there in the sky right above me for the longest time until two airplanes scared it away. And then it cruised across Phoenix, and it went probably down into Callisto Peak, formerly known as Squaw Peak Mountains over there. And so I've seen another one on Easter Sunday. Let's see, what year was that? I think it was like 2007 or 2008. And that was a white worm. That was like a white worm. And it was shape-shifting. Sometimes it looked like a triangle, then shape-shifted into a pillar of a cloud, much like what we read in the Exodus. And so, yeah, that's basically what you want to look for. Things that kind of resemble balloons or kind of resemble, flares or whatever, but doesn't act like it, right? Because everybody knows what balloons and flares look like. Man, come on. But that is the conspiracy right now. That is what the cover-up is, because everyone's looking for spaceships, everyone's looking for crafts, everyone's looking for little gray guys running around. But that's not the case. You know, it's something completely different.
Okay. All right. Well, Jeff, thanks so much for giving us a buzz tonight, and we'll check your website out. I appreciate you calling.
Thank you, my friend. You
Okay.
take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye. Okay, guys, that's all I got for tonight because we're coming up on 2 hours of radio time tonight. Can you believe that? So I'm out of here for tonight. We're coming back on Tuesday night. What's our topic on Tuesday night? I forgot off the top of my head. We're talking about something. So join me on Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. What time is it on Tuesday? 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, 10 o'clock Eastern time. I'll see you then, and we'll talk about other stuff. Thanks for joining me tonight. Cheers, guys. Ciao.
Be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.